Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Build. We're on to number 18 and we're now looking to get the final touches added to our exterior area. So we're going to jump straight into grass placement. This should be quite a quick little topic, but something that really adds an important touch to the final product of your area if used with care. So on your terrain tab you'll notice the grass button in green. Just click on that. And as usual, the standard brush options with an additional option for density. Now, density will refer to how thick the grass is placed once you paint it down. And depending on the sort of area you're making, so if it is like a field of crops or something like that, for example, you're probably going to want quite a thick density on that. But you've got to bear in mind there is a limit to how much grass can be placed in the area. I'm not actually sure if it's restricted to the mega tile or to the whole area, but I generally assume the whole area, and I've never really had much of a problem getting all my grass into an area as long as I control the density. So if you're painting your grass and all of a sudden you can't paint anymore, nothing happens, what you may want to do is go back and repaint the grass with a better density. So the basic controls for grass, you've got a standard painting brush like that, and different brush sizes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in small, just as it is there, 50% density on a small brush. I'm just going to paint some down, and obviously need to make sure I've got some grass selected. I'll just continue down here. You've got other options here, the size of the blades, how tall the grass is going to be, and some random variation in that as well. So let's say we have 1.5, you might have a variation of, I don't know, 0.3. You'll obviously want your variation to be less than the size. And then you can choose, I think, up to 3 types of grass can be painted at any one time. So obviously I can click on autumn grass there, but if I were to click on, say, cattail and flowers, you'll see they've all been added on there as well. Yeah, I can't get a 4th, it's 3 at a time, so you just have to click on one to deselect it and then to pick on another one like that. So I'm just going to just splat this down just to give you the basics of the controls. So clicking the mouse will paint some grass down like so. But say you do want to remove anything, you've got the erase option here, and just hold your mouse button down and that will remove the grass that you've painted already. And there, that's gone there. So that's the basics of just placing grass down. I'm just going to get these off the list here, and we're going to go into what we want. So what we're after is some dune-like grass just to go in the edges here of the area. And let's see what I've got. I think there is, if you look through a list, you've got all kinds of flowers and things. I want tall grass, which is a bit further down. We'll go with this one here, and this one here, and maybe that one as well. So I've got 3 selected there. I definitely want a small brush, because I like to be conservative with my grass placement. I'm going to drop the density down to 20%. I generally paint at below 50% density. I think anything 50% or above, that ends up being very, very thick grass. And unless there's a very particular grassland sort of area you're trying to do, I think it's best to be sparing with grass, because it looks great even if it's just a sprinkling, so you don't have to go overboard with the density. And the blade size, I'm going to make it blade size of 1.2. Obviously paint it down, see what size you want. It often helps if you're trying to work out size proportions. If you paint an NPC down, a human's normally the best bet, and then paint the grass next to them, and you get a rough idea then of how tall that grass is going to be from the player's point of view. And I will keep the 0.3 variation down there as well. So what we're going to do is just sprinkle the grass down. I will just get into paint mode, of course. Always make sure you're in paint, obviously if erase is on, if it's going to happen. And then just click. I do not hold the mouse button down with grass because, again, if I hold the mouse button down with grass now, it kind of just piles out. And if you delay for a second in moving your mouse, you just may get a clump like this, which is just really thick and it's probably unnecessary. You might want something a bit more like that. So I'll just quickly erase that using a medium. There we go, it's gone. Back to paint, back to small. And like I said, I'm just clicking very occasionally as I move my hand around, getting around these pieces here. And when you're making exterior areas, often with grass, I'll use it to sort of surround things like rock and that kind of thing, just to just create a bit of a border as such, because sometimes I think rocks and things just lying on their own, sometimes they can just look a bit out of place, but putting a bit of grass in often changes that. You're quite surprised the effect it has. Grass is one of the more intensive areas of the engine, which is no reason why I like to be sparing with it, because you can, some mods I know you can walk into like a big thick grassy area and your frame rate can drop quite dramatically. Obviously it depends on the system you're using, and I don't really experience that kind of problem anymore because I mean, my system's more than capable of handling the game now. And obviously sometimes grass can just look overdone if you're not careful, so it's best just to be very sparing. That's come up just about right, really. But I have been making even more alterations to the area off camera. There's been a bit of a retexture in certain places. That was very simple. All I did was just swap textures as I described earlier on. And then occasionally when you're painting grass you may get what's just happened here. Is that floating? You can occasionally get grass that floats around, but actually that's alright, it's on the ground. Be careful around any really steep elevations, because yeah, occasionally if you get a slight sudden misclick and you have grass sitting where you don't want it, but so with the eraser that's easily changed. So once again here I'm just being very careful not to run it over the edges here. As you can see, it's come out rather well, that has. I will just thicken the edges up here because I did want it to not necessarily just be a border, but to actually invade the beach just ever so slightly. Look along here, we can pack a bit more in just here. So that's it really. That is grass for you. Now I may paint a few flowers and things down in a bit as well. I just want to get this piece here just finalised. I'll get to the top of these ramps and then I'll quickly show you how quickly it is just to swap out other types of grass if you want to add in, say, some grass with flowers, for example. So some wild flowers growing somewhere, we can quickly get that working. See, now we're at the top of the hill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the blade size down now. I'm going to go to a 0.8 with a 0.2. And we will take these off and we'll look at some other grass options now. So what do we have then? We've got some plain old grass around here. We'll take number 4, number 1, and we'll mix it with something else. If there is anything to get some weeds, we'll go with that one there, and we'll start to paint these in now. All it is just a rapid click around the area, because we don't need it to be rich in grass, just so it's visible to the player. So I could even make the brush larger here, but I'm always scared of overrunning where I want to go. That's just right. That's all we're after there. and we can continue that just along the fronts of the houses. Okay. Now if I wanted some flowers or anything like that, it's quite simple. Some trees there, we'll come to those soon. But wildflowers and things like that, it's just very simple, just like I was doing with the grass there. It's just deselect the grass that you don't want anymore, just by clicking on it. It's fine, there it is, let's get rid of that. So say we wanted, I could have just left that, couldn't I? We'll take, obviously the amount of flowers you'd want would depend really on how rich you want to be. So obviously you can select 3 grasses. I'm going to have grass 1, grass 4, and then I'll pick 1 type of flower, nothing too bright. So we'll go with number 5. And this one, we can make this probably a little bit taller, maybe 0.9. And we'll start paint this in just around here. And we've got like a mixture of grass and flowers in this part here. I can sort of paint that in there like so. And you see it's just very simple, just come through like that. So that's grass, very simple process to follow. And then what we can do now is I can finish the grass later on, but we can look at trees now. And trees are, they do add an awful lot to your area, and they're very, very flexible with what you can do with them. Now, what I normally do with an area is I normally select 5 or 6 types of tree, which includes bushes and things like that. And they're all I'm going to use. The engine can suffer a little bit with trees if you're using so many different types or so many different variations of a tree. Though with the way systems are these days, I think the old recommendation of obsidian, which I think was 5 seeds, or was it 5 types of tree, whatever it was, doesn't really seem to apply. So best thing is just use your judgment. Have a rough idea of what trees you want in your area, and from that point on you should be absolutely fine. And obviously I will be using my plugins list. I have the tree randomizer. If it's just called randomized trees, I'll try and get the full name of the plugin and a link in the description for people, because the tree randomizer is excellent once all your trees are down. So what I did was I had a look around some photographs and things to see what sort of things we might find growing in this environment. And what I've gone with is 2 types of birch, 2 cedar trees, some sort of in the morning glory it's called in the tool set, but it's something that looked like a sort of a berry or some flowering sort of bush, and some ferns. And blended with grass and other natural placeables, they should all fit in quite well. Now I don't particularly want an army of trees in this area. It's not, it's not a heavily wooded sort of area or anything like that, but it's certainly in the background and on occasion around the town, the odd tree and certainly some bushes and things like that about. So we're going to get those put in now. So trees are found in the blueprints tab and under the trees category. And if I just collapse all this a minute, it's not going to let me do it, is it? I'll do it out of that. Will it do it now? No, it won't. So what I'll do is I'll just close all this down. Yeah, the expand and collapse options don't always work. And that will be all the sections you've got. This one is from a placeable or sort of tree pack I've got installed, but the rest are all part of the standard category. So my spy, ignore that. That's specific to what I've got installed. So you may not see that. Well, you certainly won't in the default toolset. So you've got trees and things suitable for the desert environments, evergreen trees. I just went with summer and chose them just so I've got a more uniform colour scheme going on with my trees. Oh, I need a sip of coffee there, my throat's drying out from all this talking. So I place these trees just as simply as choose what I want, and then just pop it down. So if we look at one I did get, so grey birch, there it is, it's just the same as that one over there. But yeah, and then just click it down and done. Now the trees have certain characteristics. So when you click on a tree, just like with placeables, you can scale the X, Y and Z axis, and you can determine if they want to receive shadows or not, and you can also determine if they fade. Now the fade, which has not been described on here but I can do it for you, is if, well, by default the tree is categorized as true for fade. That means that when a player approaches close to the tree, it will fade slightly, enabling the player to kind of see behind it a bit, because the trees can prove to be a bit of an obstruction for cameras and things like that. So if you certainly if the trees are sort of you know, it's not essential that they're always fully solid and visible, you might as well leave them in the default to fade. Especially if you've got a large group of trees bordering like a path the player's going to follow, you may just want to make those fading. But if it's just the one tree on its own, I personally would knock fade off, and then it stays solid and it just looks a bit nicer, because sometimes I find the fading of trees to be a bit irritating when I'm trying to sort of admire the view or feel a bit immersed. So that's a judgment call for you while you're testing and you're thinking these trees are getting in the way, then get fade on. But if the tree's fading and that's annoying you, then turn it off. The next interesting item there is the random seed. This is a unique number. Well, say it's a very, I think it could be up to, I don't know how many digits long, it could be a very long number. And the number specifies the appearance of the tree, and the slightest change in that number, so I'm going to put a 9 in here, will change its appearance slightly, as you saw then. If I change this number here to 2, so it can bend and gain branches in all kinds of directions. Now I won't worry about this because I have my randomizer, and that will randomize the seed for me. Which is, I find, a bit better than just punching random numbers in. Obviously the drawback to the randomizer is you may not like the shape of the tree. You may find that the randomizers made the tree start bending into, say, a solid object or something like that. So it's not a perfect tool. It just speeds things up, and then you may just have to go individually to some trees that are in silly positions and just keep changing the seed until you're happy with it. Classification is just where it belongs to the toolset. You can leave that alone. Localized name doesn't really mean anything because the trees are not selectable in game. Same with the tag as well. It really doesn't do anything for you in game. The only other options that will be interesting to you is once your tree is placed down, you may want to height lock it and position lock it. So if you do any changes to the terrain or the area, the tree, as you can see here, cannot be moved in any way. So that's the basics of controlling trees. What we'll do now is we'll pick a few places where we might want our trees down. So these birches I'm looking to maybe have on the higher ground. So we'll pop one here, we'll pop another one just here, and I will just spread them around a little bit. So they are on the border of the area. Just dot them around. We don't need to be overly concerned with where they're at right now. I think I put my second one here. Another one in just there. Another one there. Another one there. We don't need too many on the cliff sides, I think, so we'll keep that reasonably clear. Get another one of those. Pop that in just there. So that's some birches down for the meantime. I will just get that one. Get him in there. And obviously right now they all look the same. Given time, they're going to look quite different. So these cedar trees, we could have one there, one here, but trees are normally one of the last things that I tend to put down. Normally because I'm just waiting for the spaces and things where it seems apt to get them down. And also because I think when you're clicking around the area, trees do have quite large selection boxes and they can become quite annoying sometimes when you want a bit of room to work. There are ways of turning that off. You can just use your show and hide tool here if you if you're finding certain types of object are getting in the way. It can often be the case when you're actually putting the sort of the real gameplay things into the areas. You can hide triggers and things like that because they are notorious for getting in the way. I really don't want too many trees down in this area, so I'm just trying to be careful at the minute with what I'm putting down. Put them in the non-walkable areas, actually that would break things up just a little bit. I'll get the next tree now. So we've done that one, get rid of him. Put that one there. We'll put one just there. And there. But like with anything, if you're not happy with the amount of something you've put down, if you've overdone something, just go ahead and delete. Nothing's final, as I've often said. We will get one down just here. I think we'll pop it just there. Then we could use one out here, I think. But we're going to want it to be quite a small one, so we're not going to go too crazy with that. So I'll have to keep an eye on how that one randomizes later on. We'll get one just there. That's really about it for trees. We don't want to have too many more about. No, let's get that out of his way. So we've got some bushes as well that we can place down. So my throat is drying up again. I am going to just have a sip of something. Right. So we've got this sort of berry like bush or flowering bush here. And he selected a load of trees then. I mean, this is all on the borders of the area anyway, so we don't want to go too crazy with details. It's when it comes to high detail with things like this, I'll really only prioritise what the player can actually see. Now these fences are actually a good opportunity for some bushes, I think, so we'll pop that in just there. I said before, I think with placeables and things, you'll often find opportunities for things that work well together. And that's That's one example there, is fences and sort of climbing viney like items. So I would have put that there, but it's probably a bit too big, I think. So I'll come up with something else for that. That's fine there. I'll leave that fence alone, but we'll put another one just there. I don't want them all looking the same. Let's have a look here, see what we can... No, it's a bit of a hovering bush we've got there, so we won't do that. But we might be able to squeeze some into these little bits just here. See, it would have been nice to us in there, but I think we'll use something else for that. If we look further down now, there might be some opportunities to place these down. Obviously I don't want these to be walkable, so what I will do is I will stick a bush just here. We'll pop another one just there. I'm not sure if we're going to find any more. Actually, we may do just over here. Certainly don't want any on the beach. I think we could probably pop something just there. Then we've got this entranceway here. We can break that up a little bit. Pop that just there. I think that's where we're at with those. So that's the bush done. Obviously I can come back to this later and throw little extra pieces into it. It's not a problem. Now we have the smaller version of that same bush, which may come in handy here and there. It come at the corners of buildings, perhaps, that kind of thing. Now I think it might work out just okay here. Put that just there like that. So they've all come in useful in their own little way. So we're not going to have sort of vast gardens or anything like that around here. It's this area is not known for it. It's for their capabilities, gardeners. It's something else, but you know, it can make the entrance of some of the homes look a bit nicer, like so. Just from the corners as well. I think the only tree item we have left to place after this is the ferns. I think that's me just about done with this one now. We could actually decorate some of the back of this fence with these items if we wanted to, but I'll come back to that. Okay, I am just going to save there, and do save often. So I did have a little mishap with this yesterday while I was doing something after the last video, just adding in further details. I did lose about half an hour's work by not saving, which is quite frustrating, but fortunately it was only half an hour and not a whole day. So yeah, do save off. Control S all the way. It's quite exciting that we can soon move on to a few other things, more to do with the actually making some of the actual action of the game, which we can play and test and tweak and things like that. So I'm looking forward to actually moving on to something else. It's quite tiring, especially with this area. I've had to kind of pace my work on it so I could fit these videos in, but it's all been fine. So I've been able to work on other areas in the background. Okay, so we've got the ferns. So we'll go and find them. I think I had a group. Yeah, there we go. So we've got like a cluster of ferns, and we have this single. So I'm going to start with the cluster, and we'll work out where we want these to go. I mean, I don't want these sort of growing everywhere. They're kind of in the nooks and corners, really, where I envisaged having them. So perhaps up here. There's some more in down there. I am going to move this slightly. Get them in just over here. I've missed a hay bale. Oh, we're stacked, are we? Forgot about that. Okay, we have to change my texturing a bit there as well. That's fine. So I wanted more ferns. Pop those just there. I think if I wanted anything growing along the edges, they might just be the thing. I haven't really left a whole lot of room. So I could put one set down here, couldn't I? Again, it's in the border of the area, so it's not such a big deal. We come down another level now. There's really nowhere to put them around here. There's nowhere I'd really want them. So maybe the ferns were maybe not the best idea of mine. Could probably put some around here actually, but maybe not in this group that they're in. So yeah, the ferns might be a bad idea, but I'll probably allowed to have a few bad ideas. So we'll get rid of that one there. We'll go with the single though. I could certainly use the single. I think around here, and hopefully the randomizer should make them look quite interesting afterwards. I think a mix of flowers or something around this area should help improve the look of it all. We could definitely get some in around here. I am going to delete these light posts actually, because they are irritating me, because if you notice they are hovering in the air because the path got changed around here much earlier on. It just doesn't make much sense anymore, so I just want to get rid of it, because whenever I walk past it in a test it just irritates me, these floating lampposts. I think we get some brush type grass in here, which I think is used for jungle and things like that. That should help. It's very steep, this is, so I don't even know if they'll be on the ground, will it? Oh no, it's alright. It's just on steep hills, be careful when you're placing trees on steep hills, because it can look like half the base of the tree, half the base of the trunk, it looks like it's floating in the air. It can look a bit bizarre. So just, yeah, a word to the wise there. But we will use our little cluster on here. Where has it got to? There. No, that's not it. There it is. I think we can definitely have ferns and just rough plant life growing on the top here. It might look stupid when we run it in the test, but we'll see. I may end up just deleting all these ferns. It's I don't know if ferns with Neverwinter 2, I've never been entirely happy. I always thought the ones in Neverwinter Nights 1 looked a lot better and a lot more varied as well, but we'll see how that one turns out. Okay, so now I think I can give you a quick demonstration of the randomizer in action. I'm just going to get rid of that and that. Oops, I just deleted a tree, did I? I should be able to undo that. See, that's the thing with trees, is look at the size of the selection box on that. It's huge. I should be able to just get that. There we go. So we've put a fair number of trees down. Like I said, I didn't want too many, and I think we've got it about right there. So here's how the randomizer works, if you've got it installed properly. Plugins, randomize trees. And then you can look at here, so number of seeds to use. Now it's already set an 8 because I've got 8 different types of tree object, so there has to be 8 different seeds anyway. So basically this means how many unique types of tree appearance will there be. It's what it's saying here. So I'm going to say we'll have 3 variations for each type on average, so we'll go 24. That's the recommendation that I was mentioning earlier, so more than 5 seeds per area. Now that warning is, as I said, is a bit obsolete now, because that was written at a time when systems were not of the capability that they are today, and the engine is capable of supporting more than that. So as long as you've got plenty of memory and some good decent graphics, CPU, etc. Certainly a modern PC within the last 4 years, you'll be absolutely fine with that. So I'm going to say 24 seeds, so quite a few different possible variations, and now you've got the X, Y and Z variants. From this can also apply a random size difference to the trees as well. Now it's worth noting that you cannot impose a negative variance, so you can only make the trees potentially larger, you cannot make them potentially smaller, which is a bit of a pain, if I'm honest. But what I will do though is I'm going to go with a 25% variance, so the trees could be up to 25% larger. And that's bad news for the ferns. But as I said, I have a bad feeling about the ferns anyway. Verbose output, I think that just means it gives you a more detailed report of what it's doing, which isn't, you don't really need it, to be honest. So I'm going to hit randomize now. It likes to pop back up and say that. But yeah, as you can see, it's used various random seeds. There's the trees it found, and they're all the seeds it applies to all the trees that we've placed down. Hit OK, and now if we look at our trees, we may find there's some variation in sizes and shapes as well. So that's really good. So for example, we have a white birch here. That's the appearance of that one. Get closer look there. And then there's another white, but oh, there's another one here. Was that a grey? It's a white, and that's a very strange appearance. I'm not entirely happy with that. It looks a bit daft. So I'm just going to. I literally just jammed some numbers into the seed there, and there we go. It looks a bit better, doesn't it? Same with that one. Oh, it's gone the other way now. You can see how versatile. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 5 did it. There we go. And we've got it with this one as well here. I mean, I doubt the player can see it, but that upsets me. There we go. There's one in the background. We'll leave that one alone. So we've got another one here. So this is what you need to look for if you do use the tree randomizer, is just look out for any undesirable shapes, because there will be some. I can't remember a time where it hasn't produced anything, you know, everything how I wanted it. So that one's quite large, but that's alright, that's fine. That's fine. That's sticking out the thing there a bit, isn't it? It's not entirely what I wanted. Don't want it clipping the placeables there. Well, the ferns aren't too bad actually. I think we'll give them an in-game trial. That'll be the farm test, because I think some of the appearance of trees and that can be quite different in the game sometimes. So it's worth, if you're unsure, just running the game and making sure you're happy with what you're seeing. But this all seems fine. Makes sense that some of the trees around here would be quite tall. The few that are left this close to the shore. All seems well. So it'll be definitely worth a test run, and we will do a test run in this video, or maybe into the next one if we have to chew into another episode, which I think we may have to, but I'm going to try and just batch video all this just to get it put to bed. So that's where we are. I'm going to save and bake, and we will quickly go into game and see how it all looks with this in, and some of the other details that I've been adding off camera. And then I will have to put together another video on sort of getting the mesh finalised, things like that. So bear with me, and we'll pick up in game shortly. Hi everyone, and welcome in game. We're going to have a quick run around the area that we've been working on for the past few videos, and you can see some of the details in place. Straight away you can see some of the trees around in the distance. We have our grass cover on the ground as well. We'll continue our journey down the road here. The area map now, and yeah, again, very clear where everything is, which is nice. It's always nice to have an area map that's easy to follow. Let's see if I can look over the edge here now. The sea looks brilliant at the minute. I'm very happy with the colour. Excuse me. And the cliffside also very, very nice indeed. So really captured what we're looking for. So the hedges looking fine. So really, I mean, when you boil down all these videos, and you know, some of the little bits I've done off camera, which wasn't hours and hours of work off camera, it didn't take really too long to get this done. I mean, I know there's been videos queuing up for quite some time, but that's more for me delaying work for other activities. That certainly has taken good shape. So we can really turn our attention soon to the use of this area for actual getting the content and things in as well. I think that'll be this area we can use in future videos, where we'll be setting up things like townsfolk doing their daily routines, that kind of thing, or setting it up for any particular action, or merchants, that kind of stuff. So this area we will certainly be coming back to and using, just like with any others we have as well. The inn will be transitioned up shortly, and for certain can be expected to be seeing the inside in future videos. And so the view immediately you come down here is very nice. Down to the pathway here, and we have a look around. Yeah, really, it's more or less what I was looking for actually. It's really pleased with how it's turned out. The grass isn't too long either, which is perfect. I wanted the longer grass down the bottom, so we'll check that out in a moment. So we'll continue on this way. Walk around here. This has come through. You can see there a demonstration of tree fading, so if I back out a bit now, move away. This allows people to see behind it, but I mean this tree I'm just going to set it to be non-fade because we don't really need that. It's not really obstructing anything important. So some of the houses I've already fitted doors to, but something that's very simple like this, I can always revisit that. So the blacksmith's still there. And this is a job for meshing that we'll cover in the next video here. I can't actually get under the roof there at the minute, but that can be sorted out very easily. Got the pathway down to the beach there. We're going to head to the lighthouse first though, I think. And the ferns are alright really. Don't mind them so much. So yeah, it's always worth just double checking in game. Let's view around here. So that's our lighthouse, a bit of ill repair, but it's all good. Starting to get a bit foggy now. It suggests coming out of daytime mode because I've set up the area to be quite bright and clear during the daytime and then to fog up a lot outside. And this came along very nicely here. And we're down to the beach, which colour tinting's really helped out here, and of course we have the taller grass down here as well. Tree is casting a very long shadow from up there, I believe. So the docks are fully walkable as well. Be able to have some fun with some of that. We'll just take a trip back up the other side and then we'll end the video there. Well, like a lot of things, it's practice makes perfect, so keep working on your exteriors and eventually you'll get what you're after. I can't get any closer than that, but yeah, it's actually come out a lot better than I thought it would. Cause I've never really made an environment like this before, so I've learned quite a few things in the process myself. It's really come together nicely. So that's where we leave it, back at the T-junction for the inn there. And what we'll do in the next video is we'll look at optimising the mesh. As you saw, there's a few opportunities for that in this area. And then after that, I think we will certainly be moving on to some other topics. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.